Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Square Eyes Syndrome podcast. My name is Ben Gilman. As always, I'm joined by Tom Hill.
Hey.
And we finally managed to get him out the cupboard. Troy Simon.
Yes, I am here.
You sound like a drag race contestant.
Oh, damn.
Hello, boys. How was your 2 weeks in the cupboard, dude?
Oh, man, I feel refreshed. I feel good. Let's rock.
Yeah, we punched some holes in the side so you could breathe, and now we've locked down in there.
Thank you.
So
I need that moment of fresh air. I need it.
Hopefully next week we can have a full team. You know, unless Tom pisses me off with him, he's going inside the cupboard next week. So anyway, this is our delayed special. This is part 2, so to speak. This is a podcast special on Ashes to Ashes, which is the sister sequel, spiritual sequel to Life on Mars that we talked about about 4 episodes back now. I'm getting old.
Yeah, about 4.
And so today we thought we would reconvene. Now that Troy's back, we can finish it. So where do you guys want? Who wants to pick it up first?
I'll let you guys go first. Let me ease myself back in a little bit.
I'm quite happy to kind of pick it up a little bit. It's quite obviously Ashes to Ashes is set about 8 years after Life on Mars in that fictional world that Gene lives in.
Yeah.
And you've got this character called Alex Drake who is in the modern world in 2008, 2009, and she gets shot and ends up in London in 1981, dressed as a hooker on a boat, on a pleasure boat. Just quite an interesting start. With all of them singing along to one of the best songs ever, which is Vienna.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's still a scandal that didn't make it to number 1 in the UK and was beaten by Joe Dolce's "Shut Up Your Face."
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous. That's a joke.
But we digress.
Yes.
So this character, the character of Alex, she knows about the world that John Sims' character was in.
Yeah,
she's a psychologist who's writing a book, and he recorded all of his, basically everything we saw in Life on Mars. He's told her about over the course of a load of conversations. So she knows who Gene Hunt and Chris and Ray are. She knows these characters. So when she has this accident and she wakes up and the Audi Quattro swings in and the three of them get out and beat the crap out of someone, just absolutely brilliant.
Bastards. I love that first line from Gene.
Yeah. Today, my friend,
Scumbags.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, what is it? Today my diary ain't you worried, your diary ain't you worried, took a Prezi hostage and got surrounded by, what was it?
No, got shot by 3 armed bastards.
Yeah, 3 armed bastards. No, it's like, remember, it's Life on Mars. You got armed bastards.
Because
that's the hostage one, isn't it?
Yeah, the hostage one.
Surrounded by armed
bastards.
Alex has taken the first. The weird thing about Alex is she has, obviously she's got it's like a virtual reality thing for her attachment to this. Whereas before, she knows what she's doing. For the first season, at least, the second and third season, she's more relaxed about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
got a feeling that was a writing decision.
Yeah.
Because, as I said on the previous program, she's not as, in the first series at least, she's not as likable.
Yeah.
As Johnson.
Quite cocky. Yeah, quite cocky third season.
But it's interesting because loads of people go, when you get to the third season, you kind of had an idea of what was going on, but you didn't know that she was dead. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But they actually tell you that in the very first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She writes about being in a dystopia and everything matters, and I can't remember what the other 2 words are. But she said, "Where does that leave me?" Turns around and you see the word "dead" written down the side of the board.
Yeah, they kind of give you a little.
So they actually didn't hide anything. They told you on day 1 of this series this character's carked it. So,
Damn.
I really kind of noticed the afterlife and this is one thing I've reflected on rewatching all this. Like, it's a bit obvious from Life on Mars that it's the afterlife.
Yeah,
no, it's not the afterlife. It's purgatory.
There's like limbo. It's limbo.
It's limbo. There's as a Christian,
kind of
because it's not heaven, it's not hell. It's where people go.
Yeah.
And obviously, people are there for longer periods of time, which is how, as a Christian, purgatory is set up. You're there until you're ready to move on.
Yes. Yeah.
To heaven, basically.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a waiting place until like you get through all your personal problems.
So like Ray, who lived a worse life than say Chris or Gene, well not Gene because he's kind of the person who delivers them, or Shazza, who's the woman in this one.
Lovely.
He's there for a lot longer than other people because he's got more to work through before he accepts where he ended up. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's been there for a very long time. Gene's obviously been there since, as we discover, he gets killed in 1951, 52.
Yeah.
It's around there.
Because it's the Jubilee, isn't it? No, it's the coronation.
Oh yeah, flip. I forgot about the coronation time period. I forgot about it.
So yeah, so he's actually been dead since but his role is different. He's not there to work out his problems.
Nah.
He's there to guide everybody else.
He forgets. He forgot at some point.
Well, this is the thing. It's interesting because I think that he remembers that he's there to guide the others, but has forgotten he's gone.
Yeah, because he's dead. Yeah.
I feel like they bungled this from the original Life on Mars because I don't think they ever thought that it would come back. And they're not quite too sure how to end it. I mean, they got away with it. I think it's solid.
Got it right.
But the explanation that he forgot, he's an angel, and
well, no, but they never say that he's an angel.
Yeah, he's not necessarily an angel. It's more like like the ferryman.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
basically
of the angels compared.
He's just like he's like a guide. He's just a basic guide.
Played by Daniel Mays, who's a fantastic actor, who's basically the bad side.
Well,
he's a dictator in season 3.
Here's the question: is Daniel Mays the devil, or is he like Mephistopheles, like the right-hand man of the devil? Gene is obviously not.
Yeah.
Jesus. He's like the right-hand man of God in this scenario.
Yeah.
So you're wondering, he's obviously some kind of dark creature because number one is new teams in the basement, and that weird thing where he starts hissing in the last episode. It's like, okay, up until that point, I got the metaphors of going, what the fuck? Just for a second. I mean, it kind of worked because it was quite creepy.
Yeah.
Which was the other thing I like about that is I get the feeling that they have actually met before quite a few times.
Yeah, remember? Don't spoil it.
Which is why he walks away singing "We'll meet again." Don't know where. Know when. I get the feeling that this is a constant
battle.
Every now and then, these guys they come face to face, which is why Gene doesn't like him from the second he walks in, even though he's been really nice when he first arrives to everybody. Gene automatically is like, "Fuck you."
That's Daniel Mays, though, isn't it? Most of his stuff, he's always like a nice guy, and then he just flips a switch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the cast. I'm looking at the list of people that have been in this show, even in one episode. It's an amazing bunch of people. You've got
cast is great.
One thing that points out is what is it? Phil Davis, panty sniffer. Phil Davis is here.
Oh my god!
We're going to start this fight, and it's also got Rupert Graves from Sherlock, who's Moriarty.
It's also got George from Being Human.
Is the Russell Tovey? Is that the pink tank one, the gay rights one, which is just hilarious?
No. He's the one where they're after the drug dealer with the guns, and it turns out that he's gay, and Russell Tovey is his lover. So they get to a hotel, and they go in, they expected to find drugs, and just find Russell Tovey going, "Well, what the hell are you guys doing here?"
He's in everything. He's turned up a lot in the Syndrome because every time we talk about a special, this is the second time he's managed to snatch
popped up
a classic. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Anyway, well done, Big Biz. So it's the European Cup of Faces. I love you, Russell. Nice ass. Basically, so the thing is, there's more of a jollier tone to this STEM Life on Mars. I think it's more fun. They try and have a bit more fun with it.
They do, but also I think they've readdressed the focus slightly. Because, like I said before, in Life on Mars, it's almost all through the eyes of Sam. Thank you. I forgot his name for a second. But in this series, Gene and Ray and Chris have much bigger roles.
Yeah, they can't
They're not just incidental to what Sam is doing or what Alex is doing. You see what they feel and how they are. You know, the first episode is very much like Life on Mars, where it's her perception of how they behave, and they only appear being macho assholes, like being the A-team.
I love that.
No More Heroes and all that kind of stuff.
There's a great episode 1 where Ray, because she's like kind of feels like she's hallucinating, she does things to a desk. Was it the car? And Ray just went, "Oh, he's just." I can't remember what he said.
No. It's not to the desk. It's to Gene's car.
Yeah, I can't remember the line. It just made me laugh so loudly. I've forgotten how funny it was.
Yeah.
What she's doing to that car? I think it was that. But they really bring up the sexism. It's really funny.
Yeah, you knew it was coming, especially for this season.
Shazza is obviously. I would not want to say she's a replacement for Liz. Annie. Sorry, the actress's name is Liz.
Annie Cartwright.
Because they kind of bungle. Because John Sim said he didn't want to come back. So they kind of because at that end, I know we've got everything to go on, but I kind of feel it's a shame that only Nelson comes out that pub because
it should have been John Sim.
Where is Annie and where is Sam?
I'm not that bothered about Annie because Alex had no connection to Annie. But Sam is the person it was the only point of reference that she had for this world before she came into it was Sam. So it'd be quite nice if he was the one kind of guiding her out of it as well.
Yeah, that could have been a great link for the rest of the show, innit? You know what I mean? Just her like saying, I'm a massive fan of you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just have a ghost baby or something. Oh, she's pregnant. How has she done that then? Oh, I don't know. Ghost baby. Jesus. Yes. Jesus gave me this baby.
This is the thing. We don't know if they had kids during the 8 years in between because they don't give us a huge amount about Sam's life.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
So theoretically, because I mean, this is why if they are doing this season 3 thing that's in between two, I'm hoping that a few of these questions will be answered.
So I'm really excited there's a 3rd season of Life on Mars, but I'm also a bit scared because it's been a while. And I'd rather leave it as it is with 5 fantastic seasons. God, 2008, you had Being Human, Misfits, Ashes to Ashes, really good Doctor Who.
Solid.
Like, Merlin was pretty damn solid as well.
Not Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin was...
Tom, don't do it, Tom. Don't do it.
Why can't TVB do this?
The issue with it is your source material for the majority of Merlin stuff is Maud d'Arthur, which is a medieval poem about Arthur, King Arthur. And one of the main points of his entire arc is that he never met his father. So that's the issue I have with the series, is that he didn't grow up entitled and all those things, which made him a great king. If you know what I mean. So So the fact that they've got him actually living with his father and being a bit of a dick at the beginning, kind of goes against the source material. I mean, I know they felt they needed to do that. I'm fine, but
they wrote gay fan fiction with Merlin, and they did it on purpose because there's a big fan base to that show, and they ended up bum slapping everything. It was hilarious. They knew that, and from season 3 onwards, it got really good. From something happened from season 3 onwards, it just felt really fantastic. It took its time. Love that show.
Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We can do Merlin another day.
We'll talk about Merlin another day because that deserves its own special.
It does.
But, so, why do you think they're so good at writing Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes, but so shit at writing anything else? Because everything else they've written.
I knew it was coming.
Like, there's an Angel one in York on ITV. They did this Angels doing law, and I fell asleep.
Yeah, Angel Law, yeah.
Yeah. And other episodes that they've done for other dramas. like Spooks and Doctor Who, pretty shit. Like
maybe
proper.
it's the fact that it's not their show. They're a continuation of somewhere else. Whereas Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes was a completely unique idea.
The thing is, Angel Law was really good. I actually liked it when it cancelled way too soon. That was really good. It was getting really good after the end of like season 1, and just cut off. I was like, damn. But Life on Mars is so original, though.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm showing people now that show. They're like, "Oh, it's a really good show." You thanks for telling me about it. Solid show.
It's brilliant. I mean, Ashes to Ashes is good. It's not as good as Life on Mars. I've said that before.
No.
But rewatching it recently, I've gone. Actually, there were quite a few episodes I really enjoyed of Ashes to Ashes.
Yeah.
What's your favourite ones? There's some solid stuff here.
Well, to be honest, the arc of the first season, you guys know from what I've
bloody clown. That clown.
No, it's a Harlequin.
The Harlequin, my God, he just turns up. And he's like the freakiest thing.
Yeah, but that's my point. Because the thing, you guys know me, I'm a fan of murder mysteries, whodunits, trying to catch out where the trick is.
Who murdered this woman? Tom.
Yeah, but shush. I didn't clock, and I've gone back and I've looked at it. I didn't clock that the Harlequin was Alex's dad.
Yeah.
I never realised it because the reasons why I didn't realise it, I think, is number one, the way they filmed her dad whenever he appeared on screen was never his full face. It was always angled, so you only saw part of the face, where you saw the whole face of the Harlequin, but obviously it's in white paint.
Yeah.
Number two, I thought it was just they were using it purely so they had a reference to the music video of Ashes to Ashes that David Bowie did, because he was dressed as that Harlequin. So I didn't think it was anything more than just a kind of pushed on reference of Ashes to Ashes. And it was very, very well done because they never lingered on either person's face very long. That actor, they never lingered long on him.
I love the fact that Gene Hunt broke up the Blue Peter Garden. Do you remember in 19... It's one of the great gags. It's brilliant. Like, if people don't know
wasn't that beating up someone they were chasing or something?
Yeah. And basically, Blue Peter is like a kids program for people that aren't British. It's an institute. It's still going on.
It's an institution. It is
tea time dinner show for kids that teaches them Monday to Friday. And
didn't they actually have a thing on Crime Watch about the fact that the Blue Peter Garden had been damaged?
Yeah,
did it literally go that far?
Yeah. There's there's background. So there's in season 1, you got the royal wedding between Princess Diana and the twat Prince Charles.
Damn.
It's got bigger. It's a Russell Tovey. 1981 start the London Docklands Development Corporation.
You've also number 2 kind of has the Falklands as a bit of a backdrop.
Yes, it does. And 1983 season 3 is the general election, and the Blue Peter Garden.
Hey, you know I love my otherworldly supernatural stuff. You know my favorite episode is the last episode.
Oh God!
I love the devil was guys, angels, demons. I love all of that stuff. Asheron. I'm saying,
deserves like some more credit. He doesn't get enough credit. He's a fantastic actor.
I love that stuff, man. David Mays, the man, flipping man. He was epic, bro.
It's a good episode, and it's a lovely way to tie in the whole series, and to finally make. I mean, the thing that I think I truly love about that episode is actually the last line of it.
Yeah.
Which is that guy walking into Gene's precinct, going, "Where's my iPod?" and all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
He just opens the door and goes, "Word in your shell light, pal."
Yes.
And I like that because it's the first line that he says in Life on Mars.
Oh yeah.
So the last line he says in Ashes to Ashes is the very first thing he said on Life on Mars.
Flipping heck.
Which is what I like about it. I just thought that's beautiful.
Also, there's a 2000s copper now, and that setting will now change to 2000.
No, not necessarily, because
okay.
Sam got hit in the 2000s.
Yeah, sorry, I've had a long day.
2006.
But interestingly, if you read up on it, Chris didn't actually die in reality, like the real, until 1975. So in 1973, when he's with Sam, his actual real self is still alive.
That's crazy.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And,
I would have loved to see a 2000s copper again.
Yeah. And Shazza.
90s, Manchester.
Because well, no, you don't know. I think she was in London, but it was Wonderwall was playing, wasn't it?
Manchester.
It doesn't have to be. No, I think it was in London because she's a Londoner. She's not a Mancunian.
Okay.
Well, I think the point was that it must be about 95 because.
Well, that's
is
the,
it back in
95 London, yeah.
That's the only good song that Oasis have ever done, so that's okay.
Well, no,
come on, Ben. Come on.
Do not go there because you and I will fight.
Hey, you know it's gonna go down with Tom. I got a feeling, Tom. I got a feeling, bro.
It's all right. I can take Tom. It's fine.
It amuses me that you believe that, Ben.
One nitpicky though, when we talk about the Audi Quattro, I love that. I love that car. Like, I know it's an old car.
I have one issue with it. I love the car. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely adore it.
It beat me to it.
Yeah. But the Audi Quattro was not available in right-hand drive in 1981.
Oh, snap. I knew you were going to go there.
Literally picked that up. It was only available in left-hand drive.
Yep.
The car
so it was 2 years later that it went into right-hand drive.
Yeah.
In the UK. It was
You're a bastard, Tom.
Exposure.
Exposure. You took my line, bitch.
Sorry, man.
The songs used in the series were also out of the time, such as Japan's Ghosts in Series 1, Duran Duran's Is There Something I Should Know in Series 2, and True Tries by Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Walking on Sunshine. I hate that song.
Technically, Walking on Sunshine had been released, but the version they were playing was from a release in 85, I think.
You know Wikipedia?
No.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you're just...
No, I'm not. I'm genuinely not. I've been reading up for like 3 days on this shit.
Wow.
But I am not on Wikipedia, no.
It's getting a bit nitpicky now because it says here Ray Carlin says in episode 2 of season 1 that Bobby Moore was in that movie Escape to Victory, which was not released until a fortnight after the episode was set. That is kind of proper.
Well, he could surely have gone to a preview taping, couldn't he?
Yeah.
That's been very nitpicky. 2 weeks is a bloody nitpicky point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, go on. I love the score. I love the score of the show. That I'm gonna last. The score is nice.
I mean, season 1 is good because it's basically doing what Sam did in episode 1 of Life on Mars, which is thinking that if he gets one thing sorted, he'll be able to go home. So with him, it's finding the guy who kidnapped his girlfriend. And the first episode is him sorting that, and I think, I'll be able to go home, and it doesn't happen. And for her, it's an entire series trying to save her parents' life.
Parents' lives, yeah.
And then
it's the take out mindset. Season 1 is basically a rehash in a way.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is in season 2, and is it season 2 or season 3? You start to see that she is actually genuinely forgetting. She's forgetting Molly's face. She's forgetting. So you see.
I think it's season 2. Season 2, I think.
So you start to see how Chris and Ray ended up that way.
Yeah.
Because she's now forgetting, and we know her story, and it's like she's starting to lose her grip on those realities.
Did you? Because the thing is, what I would talk to you guys about is Molly. Do you think they did Molly too much?
You think they what?
Did you ever have a connection to her daughter? Feel for her bond with her daughter.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, to be fair, not really.
I understood her bond.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel any bond to her.
She kind of just there most of the time for me. I was just like seeing her. I was like, okay, is she gonna do anything else? She was kind of just like,
it's
kind of annoying.
It's a plot device in order for her to remember where she's come from.
Yeah, basically, yeah. She's just saying that's her anchor. Yeah, it's her anchor. That is not
a fleshed out character. They don't go very deep into, she's a daughter, she's having her birthday. That's about the level they go to.
Do it as much as Sam does. where like they were like every 5 minutes reminding you, oh yeah. It's a lot of stuff.
Maya. Where's Maya? If I meet some scenes, that's Life on Mars.
Maya, yeah, that great character that we didn't give a shit about. I hope
She's a great actress. I'm surprised they didn't show her more. I was like, damn it.
I hope she was. I think she. Do we ever find out what happened to Maya? Oh yeah, she broke up with him when he was in a coma, didn't she?
You let her go, yeah.
Yeah. I thought she'd end up in the back of a boot, stabbed up, cut up into pieces.
Oh damn! That's what I thought. Initially, all I could see was, oh, Maya didn't turn up. She left you. She didn't come back. Or
She
something
didn't, which is great. So good for her. Basically, so season 1, were you happy with the overall arching theme of the mystery of her parents and the clown?
Yeah. Well, like I said, because I didn't realise that the dad was the Harlequin, it's quite a surprise to me. And then I went, of course. As soon as it happened, I was like, how did I not see that coming?
The bit where his face turns into the Harlequin is really creepy. There's that still shot, and it's just like proper. Oh, it's basically. It appears to be the clown from David Bowie's Ashes to Ashes music video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is what it is, yeah. Which is essentially death. Ashes to Ashes is about dying.
Death, yeah.
Because I thought David Bowie is really pissed at the BBC here. Turned up.
I'm sure David Bowie was perfectly cool with the fact they kept using his stuff because it was free advertising and they used his music all the time, so...
Free stuff. That's basically what it was.
What do you think of the cliffhanger of season 2? Because they try and pretend that Alex has woken up and Jean's on the hospital monitors. Do you think they should have just not done that? Or
no, I liked it.
Bait and switch.
I can't remember how she ends up back in.
She gets shot
again.
She gets shot by
Jean. Accidentally shoots her, something like that. I think it was that. Yeah.
Because that's the excuse for why Danny Mays' character shows up in season 3.
Yeah.
Investigate whether or not Jean actually meant to shoot her.
Meant to do it, yeah.
It's a bit of an arsehole move, though.
I quite liked it because everyone assumed that it was only going to be 2 seasons. I remember at the time, everyone thought Ashes was only going to be 2 seasons. And like the day after the finale, everyone was going, what the fuck? And the writer came out and said, when did I ever say it would only be 2 seasons? And we all went, you bastard.
You son of a gun. It was a great ending, though. I like the cliffhanger. It was a good ending to me. It was solid. I liked it.
I quite liked the idea that the way to get her back to reality was to kill her in Jean's world, possibly. Yeah. For half a second, I thought, wow, that's a twist. That's weird. And then Jean appears on the screen. I'm like, okay.
And she just wakes up like down the line. I'm like, what the hell? A freak? Which was not back in the modern times, so it was weird. Back to modern.
Yeah. What do you think about how they handle Sam Tyler? Because I feel like they kind of knew John Sim wasn't coming back, so they kind of had to find a way around it. Are you satisfied with how they did it?
They kind of left about tons of like red herrings everywhere. Someone was pretending to be him at one point.
That is such an episode.
I was like, oh Lord.
Sam Tyler, come on.
It was me.
I'm John Sim's uglier brother.
The guy who does that is a brilliant actor, and once again from Being Human.
Oh, once again, Being Human.
But I didn't like that episode. That episode really peeved me because I was like, "You're going too far."
Yeah, you're trying to cover it way too much.
You're desperately trying to kind of bait and switch me here, and I'm not following it. I'm not doing it.
I just wish that they would have. If you've got John Sim, wheel him out. If you don't push that.
Well, no, I think in order for you to understand Jean, you had to have John Sim being talked about again.
Yeah,
the character of Sam Tyler had to be spoken about again because it was such a major thing. If the only person who she might have met in this world, has disappeared in suspicious circumstances, a year earlier. And suddenly Gene Hunt and his 2 biggest sidekicks have left Manchester for no apparent reason and moved halfway across the country. It all seems a bit dodge.
A bit weird, yeah.
So I can understand you needed to bring Sam Tyler back in, But I don't know. I haven't read up on this whether or not John Simm said no or whether they never asked him.
Yeah, I never realized what happened. I don't know.
Because he's an actor that doesn't really like to come back to the same role.
But he is going to come back to Life on Mars again.
Well, he's a hypocrite. He came back on Doctor Who and he said he wasn't going to. So really, maybe he's changed his mind now.
Well, I don't. Well, I think he must have changed his mind about Life on Mars.
The thing is, he's a good actor, so I'm not even going to make a joke about his shit. He needs the money. He's been doing it. Listen. He is a great actor, so he's been in plenty of things throughout the years. Okay. Maybe he's just mellowed a bit and realised, I like the fan aspect because he's well known for being those two roles. And obviously, if the right script's there, and he said, "I've only come back because the script is really good." I trust him on this.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, this thing I just don't know because I can imagine that he would have been okay with like a 5-minute cameo at the end of Ashes to Ashes. So it may just have been a conflict of he was off filming something else.
Yeah, he must have because he would have at least come back for like a little.
You'd have thought he'd have come back to do that.
Yeah, just to finish it off. Yeah.
Because it's a nice piece of fan service that everyone knows. It's the one thing that let down that final episode was that, and it wasn't the fault of the writers, is that John Simm wasn't there. Is the only thing that was missing from that final episode. Everything else was tied up, made sense. You went, oh, okay, that's why that happened. That's why that happened. Brilliant. Also, going back a couple of episodes, the one in season 3 where Viv goes into the prison?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm wondering, because it's possible in Christian mythology for somebody who's in purgatory to then get sent to hell. Normally, it's working off your debt and going to heaven. So do you think that's what happens to Viv?
Both ways.
But do you think that's what happens to Viv?
Yeah.
To
be fair, I think that's what happens to it. Because it can work both ways. If you don't pay off like a certain time, you're just staying there all the time. And literally, if it's ways,
the last thing you see is Danny Mays kneeling over Viv before he dies. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this guy.
There's a little clue. There's a little clue there.
Yeah. So but I thought Viv was a good additional character. He's not in every episode, but I liked him.
Yeah, it's a good little character there that they kind of just shoe on in there, but it was decent. His run was decent.
Yeah, but it was necessary to show that they developed a bit in terms of their racial prejudices and things. That this guy was just part of the team, whereas in Life on Mars, that guy shows up for one episode and has all those jokes made about him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows that there has been some level of development.
Yeah.
Of the attitudes, even if it's not like a full development, he is at least accepted.
Yeah, because of that diversity, I'm sorted out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Also, I think he's quite a good character. I quite like him.
It could have been a bit longer, to be fair, but
I've just found something. I know what I'm doing after this. I've got some more facts for you. So the soundtrack. During the second and third series, by the way, you should download the Spotify soundtrack for this. Oh, dear God, amazing. During the second and third series, 1980s background music, which was used during the show, was available to UK digital TV viewers by using the red button. Red button is basically, for British people, is a button on the BBC where you can get extra content. So basically, it would lead you to clips on Top of the Pops and other 1980s BBC TV music programs for that program, and it would be introduced by Gene Hunt, saying silly things about each band and calling the audience the C word and everything before they played the clip. So that's brilliant. You can't find that anywhere now. Also, I've just found out that there's 2 comedy sketches that I want to see now. Top Gear meets Ashes to Ashes for Children in Need in 2008.
Oh, Top Gear.
Have you seen this one yet?
No.
I haven't seen that, no.
And Ashes to Ashes does Sports Relief.
You know what? I heard of that one, but I never actually watched it.
It's got Dickie Davis, Daley Thompson, Duncan Gutu, Steve Clam, David Gower, Michael Parkinson, Sam Tolerance, Tom Tony Hardley, Paul Daniels, and Debbie McGee as 1983 versions of themselves.
I gotta go back and watch that.
God, I need to watch these two. When we're done, I'm not reviewing them now. It's a bit rude. But yeah, that's great. So let's go back to the main cast. So it does feel like Chris and the other dude, I can't remember his name right. Gary. Gary? No.
Ray.
Hey, Dean. No, Ray and Chris. Do you think that because Chris comes more into as a main character now, doesn't he? Because this is an older Chris now. Because he's learnt a lot from Sam. Because remember, there's always that little big brother, little brother thing from Life on Mars. We found a lot more about Cray. He's a bit more humanized. You know, he committed suicide.
Yeah, we don't discuss that till the last episode, though.
Yeah, but it's still things that you find out. And you find out that he was an army. He applied to be in the army and everything.
Yeah, didn't get in, though.
Yeah.
Tom's just like, yeah, didn't get in, though.
Yeah, Tom's a dick. It's fine.
It's true. It's merely a factual statement.
Do you not think, though, we're watching it, that Ray is really turning up because of Alex and Shazza? You think that he's a bit more of a prick in this run than Life on Mars, because he's proper every 5 seconds with the women in this show.
I dislike him more in Life on Mars than I do in Ashes to Ashes.
What's the difference for you, then?
Well, I think it's the episode where he helps the that young prostitute. That young female prostitute. You see that actually he has got a softer side. He's putting on a show for. He needs to be the manly man when he's around Chris and Jean and all that.
Yeah, it's the peer pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's not strong enough to not feel that peer pressure, but he's the last. If I told you that one character from the cast was going to be the one who helped out a young black prostitute, Ray would be the last on your list every time. But yeah, so he was still a dickhead, but they made him a little more funny. Like the whole thing with the dating agency where I don't use dating agencies, and then the woman walks into the police station. Hello, Ray, what are you doing here?
There's a little humorous parts like that, little bits here and there.
So little things like that made him more comical and less of a I really dislike this guy.
Yeah.
Interesting point. You know, the woman who played the head of the dating agency is actually Phil Glenister's wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Wow. Lovely.
That is insane. What?
Yeah.
What? Pretty nice show. What about Chris then? Because Chris is now him and Shazza. We'll get to her in a minute. Do you think they're a good couple? Because they're together. They spend a lot of time on that relationship. Like, I really liked it.
Yeah.
And how do you feel of Shazza as a character? Because, you know, I can't remember a lot about her. That's not a good sign.
Oh, Shaz.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's kind of forgettable character.
It's difficult because she's obviously coming in
to
a well-established group.
Yeah, same with Keeley Hawes. It's difficult for both of them.
But Keeley Hawes, because they develop her character before she arrives in 1981, you kind of go, okay, that's who she is. But Shazza is a whole. You know who Chris is. He's the slightly weak one. You know that Ray is the misogynist. You know that Jean is the alpha male.
Yeah, all of their qualities already fleshed out.
Characters built.
Yeah.
Whereas with her, you don't know what she is, and so I feel like you don't take as much time to learn about her. She's kind of just there.
Do you not think that Ray's look, actually, his moustache, somehow makes him fit into the 80s and 70s at the same time? It's quite amazing to watch. It is impressive because Chris really goes 80s This time he's got blonde hair. He's looking like an 80s boy.
His string dyed his hair. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, and Ray just hasn't changed a bit. Neither has Jean, and they both look so comfortable.
But that's Ray's character, though, isn't it? He doesn't want to change or sustain in the same time period.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much the 80s, like, the 80s is all happening, and Ray's just like, no, I'm still me, you know?
It's like, Cobra Kai, another TV show. It's like, yeah, we're still stuck in the 80s. Don't get out of it. It's modern day. It's like literally the 2000s.
It was a better time. The 80s.
Yeah.
So it's a 90s kid. We had this conversation last time. Did you know about the cultural impact of? Oh yeah. So what is your biggest takeaway for Shazza? Because it feels like she's done the same storyline as Annie from Life of Mars, where she just kind of moves up and gets accepted by the boys as a woman, as a female officer. I think the thing is, if she wasn't Chris's girlfriend, I don't think she would have a point. She'd just blow away in the wind like a wet balloon.
I agree with you up until season 3.
Okay.
Because then they start to focus on how angry she's getting and her rate, and so she's kind of remembering that something bad happened to her.
Oh yeah, she's the first one.
Yeah, and she's the first one to actually be kind of. She knows that something's out of whack, and so by her doing it, it kind of allows you to keep Ray and Chris as you know them for a little bit longer, and let her be the one who's kind of discovering like the stars thing and all that. You know, when she turns around that corner and there's just stars. They don't explain it, but it's her who they did that with, because it'd be difficult for Ray and Chris's characters to kind of explain that away.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the 3rd season, she'd become useful, but prior to that, I kind of got the feeling that they just felt they needed to have a woman other than the protagonist in the show. Yeah, that's my takeaway.
Oh, by the way, there's a sergeant. There's the sergeant at the desk I want to bring up as well. Hold on a minute. What's his name? I want to bring. There's a nice police officer. He's quite old. I can't find him.
Desk sergeant in that is Viv.
Yeah, Viv. He's awesome. He's in nearly every episode. He's just quite funny and old and wary. He's like an old sheepdog. He's just there and he's comforting, and he's just funny and polite and nice. He's a great character. I like Viv a lot.
Hey?
Viv. You know the guy that's always at the desk when they bring people in?
The one they call Skipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one. Yeah, Viv. Yeah, Viv.
He's really good.
He's the one who gets murdered in the police riot.
Oh, yeah.
In the prison riot.
Season 3, yeah. But, like, that was a dangerous episode.
That was a good episode, actually.
Yeah, no, it's a good episode, but it shows you the dangers of being a policeman. When he died, I was really sad because he's a great character. Because it gets dark after that. That's during season 3 when the battle between Jean and Keats is happening.
Yeah, the descent into madness.
You know, and it's used to further the war between the two. And that's
what I was saying. I think Viv ends up in hell.
Yeah.
That was.
It takes his soul.
Yeah, Keats takes his soul. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes over to him and just does something, and
he
dies. You see it, and you're like, that's when you start to realise that something's wrong. This isn't something supernatural at this point.
So they can't use into the chaos that's about to happen. They kind of just go, boom, something big happens. You know, the end is going to be huge, setting you up.
Good point.
What's about to happen?
It also lets you know that no character is safe.
Yeah, no one is safe. No one is safe.
Yeah.
Everyone can die in this show. Shout out to Game of Thrones.
Let's not go there. Game of Thrones is very.
I knew Ben was going to say something. I knew it.
Come on now. I mean, Game of Thrones.
You've watched it. Stay quiet.
It's unpredictable in its deaths. To be fair, Viv is one of the few big characters that has died in Ashes to Ashes. That's what I'm saying. Not kicking Game of Thrones. Avoid a backlash on that. When that episode was interesting. Anyway, I got a lot of feedback on that one.
On what? On the Game of Thrones one?
We won't get into that now.
So in other words, nobody agreed with you about your opinion on Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
I got such abuse from people. Anyway, so
good.
So I want to tell you something. Are you aware in 2010 the Labour Party used the edited image of Gene Hunt on the Quattro with David Cameron's face as part of its general election campaign with the words, "Don't let him take Britain back to the 1980s." In response, the Conservatives posted a slightly modified version of the image of the word, "Fire up the Quattro, it's time for change, vote Conservative." The BBC and Kudos Productions apparently told both of them to kick it in because they own the copyright to the Gene Hunt character.
Yeah.
And Philip Glinster called David Cameron a cunt on YouTube because he's a Labour boy.
Well, you can't fault his argument.
No. He said if he saw him in the street, he would batter him. Lovely. I love that. That's crazy.
The amount of beef.
But what were you expecting when you first saw this? I'm guessing you guys watched this when it aired. So between this and Ashes, was there, when you first watched this in 2008, was there a sense of you were scared, or did you think you were excited? Did you think it didn't need to come back? What did you think?
When I first saw it come on, I was just like, does it really need to be done? Because the end of Life on Mars, it was kind of self-explanatory, most of it. Kind of just like, is he going to come back in a certain way because of how he basically jumped off and came back to the past again? I was like, I was going to follow it from Sam. That's what I thought the whole time. I was going to follow it from Sam. And then when Ashes came out, I was like, damn, they've changed the character, but yet she's got his notes, just following what he's supposed to be been done all that time. And I'm like, I don't really like that. But I kind of got into it. But Life of Mars always been my favorite. Ashes is kind of if Sam was in it for time and time here again. But other than that, nah. Life of Mars is always good to me. Life of Mars is always the best. Kind of secondary.
Yeah, from my perspective, I would have been upset had it ended at the end of series 1 of Ashes. If Ashes to Ashes had been a one-off series, because I think that they got it right in season 2 and 3. They made her more likable.
Yeah.
They got the tone right in season 2. Season 1, she was just too harsh a character for you to really. You wanted her to survive.
Yeah.
You wanted her to survive because she was the protagonist, but you didn't feel it. You felt every moment of Sam Tyler's pain.
Yeah.
And you understood exactly what he was fighting for, whereas her, she had this one-dimensional thing of, I've got to save my parents or I've got to get back to my daughter. And I'll be as rude as I want to anybody.
I hate that stuff. I hate it.
I mean, it does lead to one of my favourite moments in the very first episode, though, where she puts her hand on Jean's heart and goes, I can feel it beating. And he sticks his hand on her tit and goes, Fan down my dorsey. I know that that's entirely sexist, but I just thought, brilliant, that's hilarious. Anyway, so I enjoy Life on Mars.
Yeah.
Had it been its own series on its own, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
But because it was a follow-up to Life on Mars... Sorry, I enjoyed Ashes to Ashes. Because it was a follow-up to Life on Mars, obviously, especially in by the second series, I kind of was letting it stand on its own. Whereas the first series, I was constantly comparing it to what had come before. And maybe I was a bit harsh. Like, I rewatched the whole of Series 1 a couple of weeks ago. I was quite harsh on this. It's a lot better than I remembered it at first viewing. Even though I'd enjoyed it. Coming back to it without having watched Life on Mars immediately before.
Yeah.
And judging it on its own merits is actually quite good.
If it's a standalone, yeah, it's decent. But yeah, as a follow-up, It's not as strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some interesting. I like. This is where, but I'm in this situation again now with Life of Mars season 3. I'm like, do we really need this? Because it's a good legacy. To put the 2 seasons together, it just about works. Like, they've made it work really well, the whole legacy of it. I'm kind of a bit scared.
It's only going to be 3 episodes long.
But it's still 3 too many. Because it's a...
But you don't know that. It could be brilliant.
It could be. I want it to be.
And I want to know what happened to Sam, and I want to know what happened to Annie, actually. More than Sam, I want to know what happened to Annie.
Yeah, they got tied up. Yeah.
Because obviously she's... Well, no, Sam. She will have left with Sam to go to the pub.
Sam.
But we don't know.
Sorry.
We don't know what her actual story was. We don't know how she genuinely died. And I want to know how she died as well, because she was a major character.
Maybe Sam just got sick of it and stuck some shears in her head.
No, how she died in the real world, not Jean's world.
Oh, okay.
How she ended up in Jean's world.
Real life, yeah.
So I kind of need to know what happened there. And I'm hoping that this series in the between will give me that answer, because I feel like everybody else had a good arc, and you found out what it was all about for them, whereas her, you've got no idea how she genuinely died. I mean, it is possible that she did die by being kicked to death by Sam's dad, as nearly happened at the end of series 1. That could genuinely have been the way she died.
Yeah.
But we don't know, and I want to know.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah, because we've seen before their death can reflect back into the coma and to purgatory. How many times have you seen that? Flashbacks.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You also know that Sam had that memory of his dad kicking someone in a red dress. Not from being in the other world, in Jean's world, but from his own past. So conceivably, that is what happened to Annie.
Yeah, because you always see like little glimmers of it. It's true.
Yeah. So that could have actually been the way she died. She could have genuinely been killed by Sam's dad, which is just perverse that they ended up together, if that's true.
Damn.
What a screwed up show this can be sometimes.
Yeah.
I've got some trivia for you. Series 1 contains references to prostitution every episode.
Is it?
Alex travels back as one in episode 1, sees a poster in episode 2 saying we're all prostitutes, and in another solves the murder of a streetwalker. She's also frequently dressed in red, making her a Scarlet Woman.
Yep. But that's only 3 episodes of the first series where they reference prostitutes, isn't it?
No, but it has a reference in prostitution every episode.
Okay.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, because you got the spotty kid who blows everything up shouting we are all prostitutes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but you know what? I think the writers of the show have said, how do you explain that you got the car wrong? And he said he got really pissed off and just moaned about the internet. I went, right, it's Alex's mind has made details change. I love that bit, by the way. It's a great idea. The details are a bit slightly off because Alex's brain isn't functioning. She sees them as all constructs, doesn't she? So that's maybe why the car isn't in the right place at the right time.
In reality, you fucked up.
Yeah, but it's a good wave away, I find.
Yeah,
it's a good retcon.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can always just go, yeah, it was our mind. It was just all wrong, all wide wrong. That's why it was just never there at the right time. Yeah, exactly. And there you go. That's it. Done. Explained.
And did you know that Gene Hunt and Alex, the actors playing the characters, have both got the same birthday on the 10th of February?
Did not know that.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So, what would you have improved? So I'm getting from Tom a sense that Life of Mars is better.
Yes.
Okay, why?
Because your protagonist is one of the finest actors in Britain and made you feel every moment of it. When he was being a dickhead, even though he was being a dickhead, you understood why he was being a dickhead. When he was, the character arc was brilliant. For the writing was amazing, but John Simm is just an exceptional actor. And don't get me wrong, Keeley Hawes is a very good actor, but she's not as good as him. And that's not meant as an insult. It's just very few people are. And it's a character, it's a role that requires that kind of depth. And maybe she seems worse because you compare her to Sam. Maybe I'm looking at it through those tinted glasses of she's not as... I don't empathise with her as much as I did with the previous guy.
Yeah.
But Life on Mars, number one, the originality of the idea and the brilliance of the actors, and specifically of John Simm, make it truly special. In the hands of other actors, that show would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as good.
It's one of those ones that's balanced so finely. And it's because the cast were great that it worked. Otherwise, it would just be some cheesy shit like the American version where they end up in fucking space.
Oh, don't bring the American version.
Sense. It's really bad. It's just stuff.
But that is like the mirror held up to what Life on Mars could have been in this country with a different cast. So yeah, that's my reason. Don't get me wrong, Ashes to Ashes has some brilliant episodes, some unbelievably funny moments.
Yeah.
There are really good little nods, and I do like it. But Life on Mars, for me, possibly just because it was the original, is the better.
Okay.
That's my perspective.
I found the Spanish version of Life on Mars. Are you ready for this?
Okay, go on.
Okay. I'm just going to describe all the characters. Gene Hunt looks like Poirot, and Gene Hunt effed. Looks like the love child of that. Annie looks ginger. Ray looks like his kid's grown a moustache and taken his pubic hair off and slapped it on it underneath his face. He looks like he's the love child of Ray and Chris. He's pretty skinny. And, well, I'm guessing this is the famous leather jacket of Sam Tyler. He looks like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory decided he was Hispanic and decided, hey, I'm going to get in here. He looks like Sheldon from the Big Brother with, like, beard. Evil Sheldon. Actually, no, you know what he reminds me of? It's Sheldon and that guy from the Community, Abel, effed and got a baby. That's what he looks like. That's what he is.
Oh my god.
That's what. It just looks terrible.
Spanish.
I don't even want to know.
Why are you picking the Spanish one, honestly?
Exactly. Why is he going?
I just found it. That's why.
He's trying to sort it out.
Just ole. But yeah. So what do you want to get, Troy, from season 3 of Life on Mars then? While we're talking about that, because Tom's really
yeah.
So the way season 3 ended, it had such a neat bow in it. Literally, you got Gene, Keats, existential dread, and all the rest of it. But as Tom said before, literally, I want to see what happens, and you said before as well, Ben. Just want to see what happens to flipping John Simm and flipping Annie, man. That's all I have a flipping Annie, bro. That's all I have to be, because she was such a warm character in the show in Life on Mars.
Yeah,
like she's such a great opposite to John, or a great companion, I should say. And
yeah,
they work so well together. And I was like, I just want to see what happens to them. That's it. So I don't really care too much about the other actors.
I'm looking forward to two things: John's her dying and John Simm going, "Yay, she's dead," or
where's Maya?
I actually like Annie. I actually do like Annie. I mean, she's one of my favorite characters from the whole franchise. But I can't wait. There is one thing I've waited a long time to see, and I'm going to be very excited when I see it. I've waited a long time to see this. John Sim to regenerate into Missy, so I can't wait.
My flipping God! I knew it was gonna. I knew you were gonna. I was just waiting this entire time. I was like, when's Benny gonna pull it out? Like legit.
Mate, I had to put a Doctor Who joke in here somewhere. In terms, as Tom left, has Tom just decided I've had enough of this crap?
Tom's just chilling.
Tom, he knows that you're talking about Doctor Who, and
that's why he's literally muted himself. Tom muted himself.
I was just Tom just muted himself in protest. So I just wanted to know which has got the best soundtrack, because I like 70s, but I really love the 80s more.
I love 80s,
but I don't think this soundtrack is complete 80s, because they've gone for a very British 80s soundtrack here, which is what I love about this. They've got British with the 70s as well. They never really got American.
Nah, English, all English, yeah.
All English. Because normally when you think 80s, well, I think Guardians and stuff have done a fantastic job with a great 80s soundtrack. But this is proper British 80s.
Yeah, because the first thing I think of is 80s, I think of American rock music. That's what I think about. It's the first thing I think of, synth, all that stuff.
So what's your favourite then?
I'll say Life on Mars. Life on Mars for me.
Okay, why?
The score. I like the score of that one. To be fair, I like the Bowie stuff.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I was just saying, there's the soundtrack to Life on Mars is awesome.
Yeah, that's way better than Ashes for me. Because if I think of 80s, as I said before, I think of American stuff. Like the 80s English stuff was good.
Yeah,
I don't think it was good as the American stuff. For me, I'm an American's 80s guy. For me, but the 70s English stuff was so damn good, and the 60s.
Yeah,
that's why I would go straight for Life on Mars for me. Life on Mars.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Ballroom Blitz on its own.
Ballroom Blitz. Literally, I was literally watching my mom was like, wait, is that Ballroom Blitz? She was literally taking every song that was in Life on Mars.
And that's such a good song because I've always got that image of just Gene with that burger in his mouth looking at Sam as to say, look at me, I can drive backwards.
Oh, gosh.
What's your favourite Gene quote from Ashes to Ashes?
You already know mine already.
Which one is it?
Oh, damn. Oh,
you've done a good job telling us what your favourite is there, by the way.
wait. You know what? Wait, you know what I just did? I literally went back to Life on Mars. Sorry. Wrong show.
Well, this is...
That was the Armed Bastards. That was the wrong one. Wrong show.
Yeah.
So what's your favourite quote from Ashes to Ashes then?
He's dodging it.
Oh, you know what? I literally don't have a favourite quote from Ashes. I don't have one. I literally don't have one. I kid you not. No message. I don't have one from Ashes to Ashes. Go. What's your guys?
My favourite quote is the first one. Today in my diary. Yeah. Today in your diary. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Today, my friend, your diary will read, took a prosy hostage and was shot by 3 armed bastards.
Wait, was that the one I was thinking? I was thinking of that one, the armed bastards and the 3 armed bastards. I was thinking of both
of them.
That's the one. There we go. I'm with you on that one, man.
It sounds right.
Anything to do, armed bastards, I'm with it.
With a Sheffield accent, it sounds pretty authentic as well.
Yeah, I got the Sheffield twang going on right now. There we go.
Yeah.
I think possibly my favourite. I've got a couple, but my favourite one is from that scene as well. You know when she collapses and he just goes, "My reputation precedes me."
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Those first 20 minutes of that first episode are just gold mines of the car and the desk.
Yeah.
Just Ray and Gene are just firing on all, just loving it. They really are good because they're confident in you. They know, here we go. And I think it's the funnier of the two series. I think Life on Mars is better, but Ashes to Ashes, they had more fun with it.
Yeah,
they really
but they can afford to do that because they've established most of the characters.
Yeah.
Over 2 series, so you can then see them having a bit more fun.
Just having fun, mate. It's amazing. Some of the quotes Gene Hunt gets series is just.
Oh my god! Wait, literally, wait. One just popped in my head. What episode was it? I can't remember what episode it was.
After watching Ashes to Ashes, I wanted Gene Hunt to be my dad. That's how cool he was.
What was the quote you thought of, Troy?
Tell me if what episode it was. Literally, I can't remember it. Where Gene Hunt goes, I think it was something like, I have no desire to see a well-educated bottom, but it's good for morale, or something like that.
That's the one where they need to stamp her ass. That's episode 2.
What's episode 2? Yeah, that
I have no desire to see a pony ass.
Yeah, your bony. Especially that saying moving pony ass, like that got me for some reason. I started laughing. I started cracking up. I don't know why. That's probably one of my favorites as well.
Also, I quite like the one when they're stuck in that military bunker, when they get locked in, and she takes her top off, and he just goes, "Lord, if this is a test, I fear I may fail."
Oh my god, that's a good one. That's some good ones. I love the Life of Mars one, but actually has got some good ones in there as well. Gene Hunt was the man, though. Gene Hunt, the quotes were the best. Gene Hunt, the man.
Yeah.
Oh,
I actually have a T-shirt at home which is literally "You're surrounded by armed bastards."
That's a shirt. That's a shirt. My shirt. I'd buy that.
HMV used to sell them.
Are you serious? They used to sell that.
HMV used to sell a T-shirt with "You're surrounded by armed bastards."
Oh my gosh, that must have sold that. That must have made money.
I don't know, but I bought one. Still got it.
Do you? I've got some here. I hate people who give to charity. Such a good line. That's it. What is it? Murderers do not play tennis is another one.
That's Life on Mars, yeah.
I think she focused to Tranny's fanny is another one. Drugs her. What's the point? They make you forget, make you talk funny, make you see things that aren't there. My old grandma got all that for free when she had a stroke.
Oh snap!
That is awful.
That is evil as heck.
Tits in a jumper, maybe a result. I would listen to the snock in my hanky before I listen to you. The public don't give a damn what we do as long as we get results.
9% of these are Gene quotes, isn't it?
All of these are Gene quotes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's just brilliant. Well, referee, has anyone ever told you need glasses you dozy get? Next time I'll run you over. I could be here all day reading all this.
Literally, there's so much. This is crazy. It's
Let's do some Ashes to Ashes ones, though, because, you know.
Yeah, go on.
Because where's the Gene Hunt ones? They're all Life on Mars. This is a bit bad. Oh yeah, because another one. I remember this now because he pulls Alex out the road and says, "Are you crazy? Do you have any idea how much paperwork there is for suicides?"
Yeah. Episode 1. Yeah.
Fandabadoozy.
Fandabadoozy. That's when he grabs it.
I'm also using that one.
Punch me. Bollinger knickers.
Yeah. Well, that's when Shaz brings her a can of Tab, and he goes, "Tab, look at her. She's got a class. This one needs a bottle of Bollinger before she takes her knickers off." And then that's then he then refers to her as Bollinger knickers and Bolly for the rest of the show. Is that one comment?
Take that seatbelt off, you're a police officer, not a bloody vicar. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
We found a small amount of explosives on land near the road docks. Alex turns around and says, "Well, technically a small dog found it. He's an even smaller dog now." I don't know why. I'm just laughing.
Oh my gosh, this show is amazing.
I remember. I'll let you stamp my bum. I get my coat. Yeah, that's another good one. He called a kebab a bloody pasty with its ass hanging out as well. Oh god. So I think we should wrap it up then. Have you guys got anything else to add?
Nothing much to say. Life of Mars, the Ashes. Watch both. Watch them.
Yeah,
both.
full run.
Yeah, completely from the beginning to end. Watch them. So I can say on that one. Full endorsement from me. That's for sure. It's a family show as well. Anyone can watch it. To be fair.
I don't think family show. This is
family show. Let's go. So not the kids though. By the way,
we would also like to just say everybody that Troy Salmon's opinions are not anyone else's. Square syndrome. He's a Charm fan. You know, etc.
Oh gosh. Wait, Tom, wait. Are we checking the ages though?
I hate you right now.
Had to be done.
Also, one more really good line from Gene Hunt. You're looking very chirpy balls. You've been sitting on top of the washing machine again. Dear God.
I want to pick out my one favourite thing from Life on Mars or Ashes to Ashes, just a quote.
Yeah.
Just my final thoughts on this. It's Sam describing Gene to Gene and Gene's response, which is an overweight, over-the-hill, nicotine-stained, borderline alcoholic, homophobe with a superiority complex and an unhealthy obsession with male bonding. Followed by, you make that sound like it's a bad thing. And I just, this is one of my...
I've got another one here. You've got a very pretty face, but you're going longer than the Eurovision Song Contest. Dear God, there's some fantastic epic put-downs here. Seriously, is Gene Hunt one of the best quotable?
He's one of the best for sure. He's up there.
Surely, I've written maybe unbreakable body, unbreakable, and like this bottle of wine which is undrinkable. It's just, he's brilliant.
Sorry, I've just read another quote.
Oh no, I'm just reading the quotes now.
Ray, if you come in here again dressed as a maths teacher, I will paint your balls the colour of hazelnuts and inform a bag of squirrels that it's winter's coming.
And the thing is, he said it with such a straight face as well when he says it.
Yeah.
That's what makes it even more funny. That's what makes it even more joke. Oh gosh, it just flows when he says the quote. It just flows out of his mouth.
And my favourite one from that I quoted in the previous episode was, "You great soft sissy girly Nancy French Bender Man United supporting puss."
That's the one. That's the quote right there. So cool. That quote killed me the first time I heard that. I was dying.
That is still probably my favourite quote of all time.
I love the time that Gene was in his office and someone came in his shuts the door, puts down the blinds, and he just goes, "What's this? A private striptease?" Just right. Just to update, so that is it. That is in the book.
Sorry.
No, I got another one.
I need to stop reading quotes, otherwise I'll look.
Don't. You're gonna give me it all day, trust me.
He's got fingers in more pies than a leper on a cookery course.
Oh jeez.
Sorry, Ben. I'll stop now.
It's okay. We could be here all day. We could just do a special on Gene.
She's as nervous as a very small nun at a penguin shoot.
Sure. This is the kind of thing we do on the Red Dwarf though that I love, is going back to read the quotes. Anyway, we really need to end this now.
Yes.
Because Troy's going to die laughing, and we're going to be here.
And we should probably let Dan out of the cupboard.
Yeah. So, we are going to continue to do Red Dwarf now with Dan. I don't think we've announced that before. Dan from season 2, which is 3 episodes time of Smug Mode. Yeah. He will be joining us. And I've got a name for the In-Betweeners podcast, lads, for like next year. Okay. Ready?
Okay.
Podcast Wankers. You can have that one. That's that's the name. That's replacing the Red Dwarf one. Podcast Wankers. I felt very clever thinking of that one this morning. Yes, we'll have that. Trademark it now. Right, let's end this. I'm Ben. Jeez. I'm Ben.
I'm Tom.
I'm Troy.
And yeah, we'll see you guys later. Now bugger off.